Despite being a rough year for sci-fi movies, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has managed to collect over $58 million in its first weekend of release, having a budget of $160 million. So the fourth film in this new Ape franchise, which is directed by Westball, who also directed those Maze Runner movies, has done a much better job than the Kong movie, which came this year. And to be fair, I think it really looks better than the last Transformers movie as well. Although there's nothing great about this film, but at least it has a lot of stuff going on in the screen. Visually, the movie looks remarkably amazing. I mean, not bad, really. But there is a lot of incomplete CGI going around, but I'm pretty sure the VFX department probably didn't have the time or resources to actually finish it or get it done. This is the first video of my channel, so make sure to like and subscribe for more honest reviews if you enjoy watching Hollywood movies, or at least enjoyed in the past when it was enjoyable. So many generations have passed since the events of War for the Planet of the Apes, and now it's about a new ape protagonist by the name Noah, who is on a mission to retrieve his tribe from a gang of some naughty apes. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes shows that you don't have to be James Cameron to make an impressive modern-day CGI, where you have a couple of apes that look quite realistic, even when they're moving around, you know. There was a lot of close-up moments where I was like, wow, that looks so real, especially with Andy Serkis and the character Caesar, whom we got so attached to in the previous movies. The Apes franchise doesn't mean it has to be bad. In fact, it could well turn out to be the gripping start of an epic new trilogy. So it's more like a setup for something bigger and more interesting plot, rather than a proper narrative all of its own. It's got some solid performances from a talented cast, decent action sequences, and excellent visual effects. But at nearly 2.5 hours long, it feels bloated and self-indulgent. The narrative takes way too long to get going. And the central theme is one that's been tackled around multiple times before, so I can't really say that it's a film that won me over to the Apes franchise. But neither did it turn me away from it. The movie picks up a few hundred years after the events of the last film. Apes are now firmly established as the dominant species of planet Earth, with the remnants of humanity reduced to the level of primitive savages by the simian virus. So as the ape culture gets more sophisticated, they've gradually fragmented into different clans and groups, where some of which are hostile to the others. This is where we meet our main character, Noah, who's a member of a peaceful clan that uses eagles to hunt with him, while he and his mates are out searching for eggs when they run into a human named May, who, unlike the others, can still talk. Knowing that it's a Disney movie, it should definitely be a woman. And if you ask them why she resisted the simian flu and retained her intelligence, they'd probably label you as a misogynist. So I don't care about that anyway. They soon run into a hostile group of apes who attacked Noah's village and burned it to the ground before enslaving the survivors and taking them away. So basically, Noah's objective now is to track the raiders back to their home camp, to rescue the survivors and get the hell out of there. To do this, he enlists the help of May, who might just know a thing or two about what the raiders are trying to find because she's trying to get to it herself. But along the way, they'll get into various scrapes and adventures, learn a bit more about each other before the action culminates in a big battle for an underground bunker full of abandoned human technology. And of course, this being the start of a new franchise, the ending leaves the story wide open for a sequel. So, to be fair, there's a decent amount of things to be praised about this movie. Firstly, the film adheres to the same high standard as the other entries in the series. The motion capture and animation of the apes is pretty cool, and their faces look quite expressive and emotional while staying believable. And the world of Kingdom retains all the usual post-apocalyptic landmarks you'd expect, like the crumbling skyscrapers being slowly reclaimed by jungle, the rusting hulks of ancient ships looming over beaches, the barely recognizable bulls of long abandoned baseball fields, and the decaying remnants of a forgotten civilization. Although Noah isn't quite as special and tragic as Caesar was, he works well as the film's youthful, impressionable protagonist who must mature quickly. In comparison to someone like Koba, who twisted and modified the teachings of the original Caesar to suit his own needs, Proximus Caesar is a far more sophisticated and flamboyant kind of villain. And the fact that apes now have spoken languages means that he can deliver some great dialogues. The only issue is that we don't have a lot of time to get to know him because he doesn't even appear until about halfway through the film. The clear implication here is that, as the ape culture develops, it becomes increasingly vulnerable to the same rivalries, divisions, and competing ideologies that beset the human civilization it replaced. I'm pretty sure that, at the end of their time, they're probably going to face the same idiocracies we are facing in the modern-day Hollywood and Western entertainment journalism. The apes are less sympathetic once you realize that not only are they dumber than humans, but are just as morally compromised. I was able to root for them in the past because they were victimized and exploited by the dominant humans, but now they're the dominant ones, and it turns out that they're no better than their former masters. At this point, I was practically rooting for the humans to take back control of the planet and wipe them all out. So, on the subject of the humans, Freya Allen heads up the Homo sapient contingent of the story, where it turns out there's more than one group of survivors out there all looking for a way to establish contact with each other, which kind of makes you wonder what they've been doing for the past 300 years, or how any of their technology would still be functional after so long. The first hour is pretty slow as the film takes its time to establish the main characters in the world they live in, and things don't really get going until like 40 minutes. So it's kind of a slow, cautious start for a movie like this. The big revelation about what the various factions are searching for wasn't exactly a mind-blowing stuff, you know. I mean, it's all just nuclear stuff and weapons of mass destruction, when it comes to Hollywood movies anyway. I guess if you're already a fan of this series, and if you're just curious to know where it's going next, then this is probably enough to satisfy you for now. If you're not the curious type for this franchise, then I doubt that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes will do more than just entertainment for 2.5 hours.